Ciaran, fight week, another new opponent. It's kind of normal business for you now, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit alright. Yeah, just found about 12 days out. Yeah, like the confidence there anyway. You know what I mean, just from the training. So I mean, it doesn't really matter of course, obviously it matters the opponent, but as far as the training leading up to and all that. But I was actually probably getting. He's more of a conventional fighter. He's easy to prepare for. You know, he's very good at what he does do. But yeah, definitely easier to prepare for in that sense. But yeah, like I said, the confidence was there anyway. So I was just glad they got someone in.
You kind of play it down, but is it frustrating at all for you? That's happened a couple of times.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah, you just wonder what these lads are doing like 2 weeks out, and look, maybe the injuries coming into it, whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's just a bit frustrating, all right. Yeah, because in fairness, now this time the last time they put the shits on me a little bit, you know what I mean. But this time it was they straight away had an opponent ready to go, so it was grand, you know.
In terms of yourself, I know before September you had a brief injury scare quite close to the fight. How have you been this time?
Yeah, fresh, all's good now, so thank God. Yeah, last time coming into it, the neck injury, broken nose before the fight. I didn't know that it was until after it. When I got the scans and all that, like they were like, "Oh, you do the routine brain scan." And they were like, "Oh, your brain's alright, but broken nose." I was like, "Well, nose at the hair," but courtesy of Pedro Carvalho actually. Yeah, so all fresh now going into this one. Yeah.
And the build up to this fight slightly different than last year. You had a big documentary behind you. Your friend Jamie followed you around. Has this been a bit more low key and a bit more like focusing on yourself?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mad one. Yeah, it's just he's actually meet me there today, like, as I said, it became friends through. But yeah, like no camera system around, you know, so it's definitely a little bit easier already. And yeah, obviously that's added pressure as well. Would have been probably would have had to do another take if you had a loss, you know, to away. So yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
And the draw of the crowd coming up again Saturday night.
Yeah, of course. There's always just every time consistently just bringing 200-300 people, and it's just unreal, you know what I mean? And like I said, talking with more reasons to win, that's another reason, and it's added pressure, of course. But yeah, looking to make a 6-0 Industry Arena. Obviously, get the 7, but this will be 6-1 in there, you know. So.
Does that unbeaten record and kind of your rise in the last 2 years has it raised the game in MMA and dropped obviously the SPGs there now? But do you notice yourself around the town, around the streets?
Yeah, a little bit already. Yeah, you kind of, I don't know, you're ordering a coffee or something, your man's chanting as if he knows you, and you know, things like that. And then, you know, as far as the gyms and that, I mean, yeah, like, you know, you do notice, like, you might get the odd message, and you know, this lad training away, and he's saying, seeing you coming up, and you know, so no, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's, look, as I said, if I can be a positive light in any way to the town or anywhere, I mean, I suppose when it's all said and done, as I said, it could be 20 now, but you know, if you're not a good person, and you know, I can look back and say, you know what, people were saying that to me, you know, so that's great.
Hey, Ciaran. Your change of opponent there, he has 10 submission wins and his 11 victories. When you have the change of opponent and you see something like that stand out in his record, is there any temptation, maybe not take the fight, or is there something you'd have to adjust in that period?
No, like, John actually sent it to me, and obviously he had a look together and gave his opinion, but he was like, make sure you look at the fight, because look at his fights, because like, John will tell you, like, as soon as he sends someone, within 2-3 minutes, I'm just saying yes. Like, it's just like, I'm here in Bellator now, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not looking, you know, to build a record to get to, you know, the big shows around. I'm here now, you know, so, and I think that shows as well. I think, you know, I'm on the main card. I never said no to a fight, and just take the fights as is. But yeah, like, looking at that, like, and that was the first thing John said. I always look at the fights. Look, but John said I always look at the record first, and yeah, that kind of probably give you a bit of the mindset behind maybe what John would have said to me. But yeah, I look at the fights and he looked at the record, and yeah, we were happy enough and went from there then, you know.
Speaking of John, he called you the perfect representation of MMA inside and outside the cage. We spoke there about the documentary. I know you gave your fee to charity. I think it was the Save Our Sons and Daughters charity. How important is it for you to be, you know, a role model, a positive figure outside of the cage, or be it as much as inside?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I'm just being myself, really, you know. It's not really hard, you know, to be like, you know, I'm just being me, really, to be honest. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely do have that in the back of my mind, you know, like, you have that responsibility now, you know, of course. But as I said, it's not that hard, because I'm just being myself, really. And yeah, maybe, you know, as I said, when it's all said and done, to have that, you know, to the likes of John saying that, or the likes of anyone else, so it's a privilege for that to be said about you, you know.
Obviously, you have a European and world amateur experience as well. we're kind of seeing a shift to that now. How important do you think it is to have that, you know, big amateur background before you turn pro, rather than people rushing into the pro ranks?
Yeah, like I think that those days are gone there now. I think, you know, having the big amateur experience, and you know, it's a massive thing for me. Like, you know, and again, like I've 6 consecutive wins in Bellator. At the minute, I think of the third. That's the third most consecutive wins in the whole promotion at the minute. And, you know, if I make it 7, I'm not sure where it'll put me. But, like, you know, you look at my amateur record, and it's 13 wins, 11 losses. And again, you look at the record, the numbers. But if you actually dig deep into that record, you see the fighters I'm fighting. A lot of them doing well at pro now, you know what I mean? And yeah, like it was just all experience for me, you know. And at the time, you don't want to hear that, you know. It's all experience, and it's the worst thing you want to hear. But for me, it was literally just all experience. And again, as I said, the goal was to be world champion, European champion at the IMAPs. But yeah, it was just all experience in the end. Look, you know, as Artem Lobov says, I don't know if he's been chatting to him, but he says your pro record goes on your gravestone, you know. So that's the truth, like, you know. Thanks.
Ciaran, you mentioned the undefeated record there and the streak that you're on within Bellator. When do you see yourself taking that next step? Peter Queally talked recently that he thought maybe that it might be time or coming time soon to getting like a top 10 opponent or a ranked opponent. Is that something you're thinking of?
Look, to be honest, it's, as you all know, you've all had plenty of interviews with me. I don't like looking too far ahead of this man now to beat on Saturday. Tough challenge, you know. He's 10 wins by submission. He's a tough lad, and but yeah, like, you know, if I get this win, we'll see what happens. The goal, I suppose, for this year would be definitely get one abroad, or to be, I don't know, you know, somewhere else in Europe or whatever, to hopefully make it to America. You know, and then maybe have the Dublin one at the end of the year. But that's the goal, like, you know. I think I want to get established there, and, you know, have one outside of Dublin, and I don't just be the token Irish guy, you know what I mean, just fighting Dublin twice a year. And, you know, I want, obviously it's brilliant, you know what I mean, of course, but, like, you know, again, this is my 6th one here, it's the 4th one in a row, so I want to, you know, I want to get another fight hopefully in the summer, and that make it 3 a year. But as far as fighting someone ranked, like, I feel I'm only starting, like, which I am. Like, I know I'm 3-4 years into the pro career, but, like, you know, I just want to, if they feel I'm worthy, I'm gonna, like, I'm that type of person, I'm not going to say no, you know. So I just want to keep climbing the ranks the right way, and yeah, see what happens. A
few of your teammates were saying that they've got US visas now and the possibilities are there to fight abroad. Do you have one also?
No, I don't know, but it wouldn't be hard, because actually my mum is born in America, so I don't know how that'd actually work, if that'd even matter or anything. But yeah, so get me over to my family there, you know.
You swapped fight shorts and rash guards for a nice black tux there at your premiere recently of your documentary. What was that experience like?
Yeah, that was unreal. It was something else, to be honest. It was definitely it was obviously different, you know what I mean? You're sitting there watching yourself and your life, and you're sitting there, Jesus, it's kind of boring, you know what I mean? And you're thinking, but then everybody else is around you laughing and all that, and I'm like, no way, they find that funny, you know what I mean? Or, you know, so things like that was great, and yeah, as I said, I wasn't on for it at all. The whole idea of a tux and all that crack, I was like, you're mad, like. And then when the charity was throwing it, I said, you know what, look, for Jamie Sherry, they've done it for Manifest Media. I was like, you know what, this is his fight night, so, you know, I want to give him his showing, you know, to way. And then it was up for charity then, you know, so we raised $5.5 grand nearly, you know, so I was buzzing with that, like, you know.
Your wins and performances have been incredible in the sense that they're incredibly eventful also. Yeah. You've had to come through adversity, and you've shown that you've been able to. Coming into this fight, is that a conversation that you and John have been having, where maybe, you know, hoping that this is a less eventful fight? Yeah,
no, definitely. Like, I mean, you know, just looking back on them, I've learned a lot, and it's not like the skill set has massively jumped. Obviously, it's only been a few months, but I really feel what I've been cooking up the last few years since I've gone pro. I want to be able to really show that, and I'm just not 100% happy with that yet, as in the performance is in there, you know. And I just want to get comfortable there and really show the improvements that I've been making since turning pro, and the fighter I really am, you know, the way the lads that all know me in the gym, and I really want to bring that into the cage on Saturday, you know. So yeah, definitely want to make it an easier one, you know. But that's the way it is. I think it could be a first round job, like, you know, that I just really go out there and storm the ladder, or it could be back and forth exchanges, and, you know, and obviously I always see myself coming out on top. But yeah, obviously that's the plan, you know.
There's obviously a few guys from the gym fighting on this card. Does that change how the camp feels and how the card feels to you?
Yeah, big time. Like trained away with all the boys, all of us trained together. It's a different buzz gym. I always mention this when I first joined SBG with the yellow mats and the whole been a part of the UFC rise of the lads, like like Connor, Ash, Paddy, Chris Fields, Cottle Pendridge, all them boys were all training the mats at the time. Gunnar Nelson coming over, and you were an amateur back then, and that's what you were looking up to and striving to be. And now it's kind of like our turn, with the Bellator crew, all of us, like the likes of Richie Smullen and Pedro obviously, and leading the way, I suppose. Him being ranked opponent, and it's all brilliant, and we're all coming up together, to boy.
Obviously you're 6-0 now. That's a pretty impressive record. What's the lesson that you've learned from the last few fights that you've had that you're taking into this one?
Just keep doing what I'm doing. What I mean by that is my mentality is I'm 0-0. Like that. I'm the underdog always. That's my mentality, because I feel if I start thinking of this or that, or start really getting into that, I really feel that's when I think that's when fighters go down. It's not the sprint to the top of the hill, it's actually when you're on the hill, that's when it matters, because the sprint is, as it says, anyone who put just here now and make you sprint for, he'll do it, but it's when you're on that hill at the top of it, that's when you keep going. So that's just my mentality. I'm just trying to keep that momentum, keep that mentality. I'm 0-0 every time, and I'm just keep it going, and hopefully start to get another win.
So there'll be no fighters getting called out after this fight if you
No. Look, everyone knows, as I said, I fight anyone, and put the paper in front of me, say it to Jude, and I'm going to sign it. If that's the opponent, that's the opponent. As I said, I'm in Bellator here. I'm on main cards. I'm fighting alongside world champions, and so I'm here now. It's not as if I have to build a record to get there. So.